Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for the Compassion Flow breakdown. Now, I know you're probably not supposed to have favorites, but if I was going to pick a favorite, I think it's this one. I really hope you enjoy. Alright, so I'm going to start off on the right hand side. I'm going to drive my leg and my arm up at the same time as if my arm is pulling the leg up on a string. Then I'm going to hinge at the waist and I'm going to let my leg and my arm go back at the same rate. Eventually my toes are going to hit the ground. I'm going to be in a step 3 at that point. And then I'm going to let my hands snake around the mace so that I am in position to come into a Shaolin Zero. The hand that's on my chest is going to come down and make a really nice box frame. And just so you can see what that looks like from the side, I drive my leg and my arm up. I'm gonna hinge at the waist and slowly come back. My toes are gonna hit the ground in a step 3. My hand will come around the mace, come up into a Shaolin Zero. Okay, so from my Shaolin Zero, I'm gonna step forward with my back leg and I'm gonna hug the mace so that my left arm is now grabbing the tail. My right hand is positioned right over my left shoulder. And from here, I'm gonna spin out into a step 2 and come into this sort of diagonal back rack position. My shield hand is making a nice straight line to create that diagonal. I'll show that to you again in slow motion. So unwind the hug, come into a step 2, and make that diagonal with the arms. So now I'm gonna push off of my left leg, come forward, bringing the mace with me, and I'm gonna switch the mace into my right hand. Now, once I have the mace in my right hand, I'm gonna follow the weight of the head and I'm gonna let the tail come in front of me as I drive my elbow up, get my left hand in position to grab the tail, step back into a step 2. One more time in slow motion, mace goes into the right hand, head of the mace drops down, tail comes in front, elbow drives up, and then I step back into a step 2 while I grab with the left hand. Now I'm going to step forward, and at the same time that I step forward, I'm going to throw the tail, and I'm going to catch and cup the mace over my head, driving my elbows nice and high, keeping that mace tail nice and straight. I'm going to switch my grip so that I take my tail into my right hand, and the globe is toward the left in an under-over grip. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to step forward out of my step 2. I'm going to throw the tail overhead, cupping the mace. I'm going to step back into my step 2 again. I'm immediately going to drive out of that step 2 into a tall active and catch the mace in a sword cradle. I'm going to bring the cradle up first, and then I'm going to turn my body so that I can unwind the cradle, making my shield hand do the same thing my sword hand is doing. I'm going to put the mace down, and then very ungracefully just turn around and go on the other side. So now on the left hand side, I'm going to drive my leg and my arm up at the same time as if my arm is pulling the leg up on a string. I'm going to hinge at the waist, bring my leg and my arm down at the same rate, step back into a step 3, and then scoop my arm around the mace, rise up into a Shaolin Zero, making that nice angle. Then I'm going to step forward with my back leg, hug the mace, and I'm going to step out into a step 2, unwinding into the back rack diagonal. I'm going to push off of my bent leg, come forward, sweeping the mace with me. I'm going to switch the mace into the left hand, let the globe catch weight, bring the tail forward, drive my elbow up, step back into a step 2 in an under-over grip, step forward, throw the tail over my head at the same time, cupping the mace, and then step back into a step 2, switching my hands. Step forward, throw the mace overhead, cupping the mace, and then step back into a step 2, under over grip. Immediately go into a tall active on the right side, do a sword cradle. I'm gonna keep bringing the sword cradle out to the side, and then I'm gonna turn my body so that I can unwind the sword cradle to the front. This is one of my favorite parts about this flow, is when you unwind that cradle to the front and just sort of let the tail take its course, and then keep letting it go until you stick the mace back on the ground. I think it's really, really beautiful. And now you're ready to go on the other side again, so repeat as many times as feels good to you. That was the compassion flow. I hope you feel a little bit more compassion in your life after having completed that. Thank you again so much for joining me. Please tag Dr. Squats 2 Lost in New York if you try this flow, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, so please don't hesitate to reach out.